Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move. Today, we're joined by Bloomberg's Christine Aquino. Christine, what are you looking at here this morning?
Well, I'm also looking at Alphabet, Paul. I mean, Lisa mentioned shares in the green there, but very interestingly, that sales and profit beat expectations that we got from the results yesterday, that was really driven by advertising, which isn't the most exciting part of their business, shall we say, right? And even though the cloud business operating profit, more than $2 billion, that beat estimates too, but it wasn't exactly the headline driver. And so, my colleague Sebastian Boyd over at Markets Live pointing out that what we really want to know is whether the trade war is driving up costs in the chip supply chain, right? As it relates to Google's affected businesses or Alphabet's affected businesses, and to what extent those capacity constraints in the data centers are limiting expansion. We didn't really get a lot of steer from Alphabet on that.
Yeah, interesting, because Alphabet doesn't, I'm like, Alphabet, what's that company? Google doesn't really give outlook either. So it was hard to sort of understand what the future may be for that company, but not to sidestep the ad revenue. I mean, YouTube had $8.92 billion in revenue. That missed slightly, but that's a monster. And now they have a podcasting that's apparently outpacing both Spotify and Apple when it comes to people that are listening. Like, this is a monster beast on that. At
some point, I mean, if I were back in my banking days, I'd be there every quarter pitching spin off. Yeah. Yep. Let's get some value there. I'm looking at BNP Paribas, Exane. The note just hit my inbox. The analysts there maintained an outperformance on Google, raised the target price from $213 from $208 on higher EPS estimates. It looks like the street likes it as well. What else, Christine?
Looking at Apple today, Paul, we did get a little bit of opening weakness there, but it's up now just 0.2% at the moment. And that is because we did get news earlier that Apple is seeking to import most of its iPhones that it sells in the U.S. from India, which really accelerates its shift beyond China. And they're aiming to do that by the end of next year, according to sources telling Bloomberg.
What's so interesting is that, go ahead.
I just didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
So that's positive, surprising news to me, because I didn't think they could shift that much production from China to India.
I also wonder, though, if they're going to hit the Nike problem, which is Nike did that. And then all of a sudden there are tariffs on the places where they went to go build new factories. And there will be tariffs on India as well. So they're still not building it in the U.S. at the end of the day, Christine.
Yeah, absolutely. So they are still absolutely going to be exposed to all those trade tensions that are brewing at the moment. But, it does seem like perhaps maybe Apple is banking on better relations between the U.S. and India as opposed to the U.S. and China. Though, Paul, to your point, that shift actually began years ago because during the COVID lockdowns, obviously, Apple production of iPhones really was hampered by what was going on in China. And so they probably took a look at their supply chain and think maybe we should start diversifying. So what we're seeing now is just an acceleration of that.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, let's wrap it up here with Skechers. That stock is down almost 3%. What happened?
Yeah, well, speaking of companies that are very exposed to trade tensions, it is definitely very much related to what we're seeing at the moment. Skechers, again, saying that it missed its estimates for the first quarter in terms of sales, also withdrawing its full year outlook, citing, quote, macroeconomic uncertainty stemming from global trade policy. So, note that Skechers does make a significant portion of its shoes in China and Vietnam. So again, our supply chain problem very much rearing its head here. And Skechers Chief Financial Officer John Vandermoor also compared what we're seeing now in terms of the company's challenges to what they experienced during the COVID era in 2020.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.